So what do you do if you're up against a character that you haven't seen before? Well, maybe you're screwed, but you go home and you investigate. There are many ways to do this. There's so many media now that can be helpful. So let's just go over to the video. I mean, might as well play it. There's not too much. You just fast forward like halfway or something.
Do you want me to turn on the volume?
Nah, whatever. So this is a video by Sajam, or Sajam, I don't remember how he pronounces it. A SoCal Injustice player who has a pretty strong Nightwing. And he made a video that literally explains, you just play it now, it's fine. It literally explains all of the things you have to know about Nightwing. And I watched this. I don't care about Nightwing. I think that character is boring. I have no interest in playing him. But I watched this because it's important. Maybe someday I'll run into a Nightwing, or more likely, I'll have to commentate a match that has the Nightwing in it, because I don't really play in tournaments much nowadays. But that's gonna come up, most likely at some point. And I want to be in a position to be educated. I want to know what's going on. I want to know about his stance cancels. I want to know about his important mix-ups. You can see his side-to-side when he's setting up here with I think Up3. I want to know what strings are important. I want to know what the zones he wants to stand at. I want to know all this stuff because it's important if I'm going to be either a player or a commentator. I need to know all the characters, even though I myself have no interest. So this is a video that goes on for, I don't know, 15 minutes, and it's all about the Eskrima stance for Nightwing. And he goes through all these things. This is something you can find on his YouTube channel, but it's by no means its own thing. There are a ton of character guides out there. Many of them video guides. I mean, we've done some ourselves. You can find some of them on our own YouTube channel in the past. So I guess that's fine. Enough of this video.
Okay.
No need to go through the whole thing. I just wanted to get an idea of what it's going to show. It shows corner situations, mid-range situations, mid-screen situations, all sorts of stuff. He talks a lot about things. It's just very useful. And like I said, it's not at all on its own. There are lots of examples of video guides, but even more prominently, there are examples of text guides. So one thing that used to happen a lot was I had this thread on Shehulk about how to play Q. All sorts of crap about Q. Way too much crap about Q. And a lot of the posters on there were Q players, but a lot of them were not Q players. They were people who wanted to know about Q. It's not like they expected to face a Q in the next tournament, but they knew that at some point it was likely that they'd run into a Q player if they traveled enough, if they played in enough tournaments, if they played in enough casuals, and they wanted to know what's going on. How do you deal with this character? So that exists not just for Q, but for a ton of different characters. On Shehulk, it's on there. On Test Your Might if you're following Injustice. On Shehulk again if you're into Marvel. I mean, if on Dustloop there are lots of guides. That is all over the place. That's something that you need to do if you are interested in dealing with a potential character that you don't know much about, which, like I said, is going to happen. At some point, you're going to run, maybe not into Dakou or Abegen, but you'll run into a Tron player or a Thor player or Shehulk player, and you'll need to know what's up if you want to win. Another thing to do is to go into training mode, and we talk about this all the time. James has a ton of episodes in First Attack on how to learn from training mode and how to deal with it. And it's stuff that I've done too, going into training mode and showing people kind of how we look at training mode and how to figure things out. Something that I was doing yesterday, and in fact this morning before work, was I've been on this Injustice tick, and I really wanted to know how some things work. I wanted to know how Grundy works. Okay, I don't play Grundy. Seems interesting, but I haven't done it. I see Tyrant play all the time, and so I wanted to know how these things work. What are the mechanics of this, so that I can better commentate and also play. So when we were at Wednesday Night Fights last week, we saw Tyrant, and you asked me, how does Walking Corpse work? Can he cancel it at multiple stages? I didn't know, but I said yeah. You can't. I mean, I tried. There's a spot where it cancels. Okay. That's an important thing to know if you're playing against him or not, or if in my position, if you're commentating, you got to know that stuff because it affects how the match is going to go. And that's, you know, kind of an obvious example. It's a major thing, a major part of his gameplay. You know, another part is even characters that are common, characters that you see all the time. People sometimes don't put in quite the work. So we've seen Dominion in the last few days. Maybe people have seen his tweets about Morgan and how if she does stand L and then another stand L, I think he said that there's a 6-frame gap in there. If she does stand L, flight cancels it, and then does an S, I think again there's a 6-frame gap in there. It's something like that. There are these gaps. I didn't know that. I haven't looked into that before. But that was Dominion's advice to everybody. Somehow I missed that, and I'm not honestly trying to like learn everything about Morgan, but that's a big thing that you have to do if you're going to go up against a character. If you, as a player, expect to go up against somebody like Chris G, find all the little nitty-gritty situations. See what he does, look at those situations, and just find what it is that you can do. Even if it's a character that you don't see that often, Morgan you see all the time, even if you don't get to play against a top-level Morgan all the time. You look up on forums what their common tricks are. You find a guide like this Nightwing guide, that's a video guide, and you see what their common things are, and you go into training mode and you try things out. Another thing that I do is play online all the time. I'm definitely an online monster in all the games that I take seriously, and it's not because I think that online play is the best for competition, because it's not, but it is amazing for learning situations. You will be placed in situations that you aren't normally placed in, and you'll have to figure out how to adapt. And you'll face characters that you don't often face, and that'll kind of present new situations to you. You know, oh, I didn't know that this character can do this. I didn't realize what the interaction of these two normals was going to be because I haven't seen that before. Situations like that, online play is super, super useful. But I definitely think that training mode and using all of the media that's out there nowadays is the #1 kind of thing. So if you are, you know, in a major team country versus country event in the future, you know, hopefully you'll know a little bit more about DeeJay. I hope and assume, honestly, that the players who lost to Dakou will look at DeeJay. You know, it doesn't take too long to figure out what his weaknesses are. And next time they play, that won't come up. You know, I thought about showing things like Hakan, Infiltration's Hakan versus Filipino Champ, in a matchup that Filipino Champ makes look 2-8, even though it's more like 4-6, because he just doesn't know what to do in it. Things like that. That comes up all the time. It's a surprise to me that players who I think are really, really good sometimes don't seem to quite have the character matchup knowledge that you might expect. You know, a major part of becoming a strong player and trying to topple those guys, or if you're one of those guys, maintain yourself as one of those top guys, is figuring out all of the little things on the margin, the characters that you don't see very often, but situations too that you may see often and haven't looked into much, like with the Morgan Dominion example. So, okay. I think that's about that. Definitely way over time. Tomorrow, yeah, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Tomorrow we're going to have a Tuesday show, as per usual, at 8:30. Topics, lots of cool stuff, actually, probably to talk about. That Dominion thing is cool. The streaming alternative that Hans proposed today, I thought was a really interesting thing. Some of your talks today on Twitter about Killer Instinct were very interesting. Lots of cool stuff I think that we can talk about. Talk about also this fake feud that we've been having and that somehow people have bought. I don't know how.
Because apparently we're the best actors in the world.
Dude, that makes no sense.
Dude, I don't even think we're trying to act. I think we're like trying to be cheesy about it.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Literally, I saw a Reddit post completely out of the blue by somebody who said something like, "What's going on with David and James? Like, is there a falling out?" And I had no idea what that was in reference to. No idea. But thought it'd be funny if we played up to that for 10 minutes until people were like, "Whatever, guys. We see through your terrible acting. Like, cut it out." And then people were buying it. Like, we've had messages from well-meaning people saying things well-meaning, like, I hope everything's cool, guys. Like, I hope you guys get back together. Like, please be cool. Dude. I don't know how, but please be disabused of that notion. That's not the case. So.
Whatever, get off the screen already. Dude.
All right. Enough. We will see you tomorrow. Tuesday show, 8:30 p.m. Please join us. See you then.